Hello again. Okay, let's talk about classes in Java. If you're new to Java, you might be new to classes as well. And so, what is a class? A class is a real world, well, a representation of a real world object. And the example I'm using, I'm creating a person class. Public class person. What does public mean? It deals with the visibility of the class, who can access it, who can create an object based on the class. Now, what does that even mean? What's an object of a class, or based on a class? Well, I have this example here, person P equals new person. This is how we might want to use our class or create an instance of it. And you wouldn't do it in here because this is the class itself, but another part of your program or another object might want to use this bit of code here to create and make use of our person class. The P here represents a class instance. This is, you can think of a class as a blueprint, and then objects are what's made from based on that blueprint. And this P represents that object, so it would be called an instance of the class. So terms like these are important because they come up again and again. And so it's good that we have a good understanding of what they actually mean. Now, new person, what does this mean? This is where we actually create the object of our person class. Person is just a type, our custom type that we made, public class, and then P is the variable that is referencing that object. But here is where it actually gets created, new person. This new person is actually a call to the constructor here. The constructor is what creates your class, or has sets your default attributes if you have any. In our case, we do. We have age and name, and I didn't put them here, so this would probably give an error since we don't have a default constructor. A default constructor would be one that doesn't take any variables, but we did not define one, so we just defined a constructor that has two parameters, age and name. Now, this is an important, it's like a special kind of method inside your class. We have these attributes here, age and name. These are global variables. They are called global variables because you can access them anywhere within your class. So we said private, we mentioned declared private int age here, name there as well. And so that's why here we can say name equals name change. So anyone running do something, so going back to our our person P example, if in that other object we did person.do something, then the name attribute would be changed to name changed. I hope that's not too confusing. But my main point is we don't have to declare this, so we don't say string name equals name change. If we did this, we're saying this is a different kind of name variable. We're not accessing the global reference, we're accessing our own local name. So that's completely different. And so we don't, we can omit that part. And then that goes back to our reference to our global variable. And so these attributes are normally set to private because you don't want just anyone playing around with them. We'll get to that in 1 second. Back to the constructor. What does this mean? This refers to the class itself. So we have our parameter age, but we also have our global variable age. So there's a kind of clash of naming there. What do we even mean when we say age? Well, when we preface it by this is it declares it tells Java that we mean this global variable age, and so that is set to the age that's being passed on by whoever is creating the object of this class, or the user of our class. The age they put in will be set to our global variable, and same with name. And that is it's a very simple definition of when you'd use this, but just for now, I think it'll do. So if we leave our class like this will give us a person, and we can have we can create the person object again by doing this, person P equals new person, and then we'd have to throw in there an age, and let's say John, and then that would create our an instance of our class person, and that person would have the age of 30, and their name would be John. What else? There's no way to access these variables afterwards. There's no way to change them the way we have it set up now, because once somebody sets them up in the constructor, we only have one method here, do something, and that changes the name to name change, but it doesn't really give you the option of changing to anything else. So how would we solve that problem? Many IDEs would give you automatic generation of code, so it would be here in IntelliJ getter and setter. And if we have so-called getters and setters for our variables here, then this allows the user of our class to change around the age. You can run a set age method. So going back to our p example, p.setAge, and whatever number they type in there, well, it's 30 before, so let's change it to 40. The age of the object will now be 40. And that's why these methods are important. They're called mutator methods when they're set, because they're mutating the attributes of our object, of our instance of the class. And the get methods just gives us access so we can read them. We know what the age is, otherwise we would not be able to do so. So I wanted to make this kind of quick, and hopefully this was of benefit to somebody. All right, thanks for watching.